Guys, and welcome to Leaguecraft 101. Today I'm going to be talking about what I would say is the hardest thing in League of Legends, Diamond plus ADC Teamfighting. I would say with pretty high confidence that up until low Diamond, you can play ADC teamfights by just attacking the closest target and be fine. So I'm not going to talk much about that. However, this model starts to break down as soon as you get higher and higher elo, specifically hitting a breakpoint at around Diamond 2+, where unless you actually know how and when to kill the backline, you're just going to hit a brick wall and you can't climb any further because you won't be able to consolidate your leads often enough in games where you're only marginally winning. When you watch competitive play, you might be wondering why Doublelift or Bang keep dashing into the enemy team and dying instead of just hitting the front line, and this video is going to tell you why. So in episode 4 I talked about the different teamfight phases. The first phase is direct initiate, and an ADC usually doesn't do anything in this phase. The exception though is if you have QSS, then you can frontline to bait a flash direct initiate from the enemy team. In this example, our Twisted Fate tries to make a Messiah play, and dies while we get zoned by Zyra ultimate. At this point, I know that I can frontline because the only CC left is Malphite ultimate and Malzahar flash ultimate. I managed to bait out the Malphite ultimate, so now he's in the middle of our team, and we can kill him, followed by the entire enemy team. Alternatively, if you have a dash and the enemy team is split up, then you can direct initiate by dashing in with Lucian or Ezreal, and then QSSing their CC ability when they try and turn on you. This will almost always start a teamfight, because they're going to try and capitalize on your dash being down. In this teamfight, Bang on Lucian is being hasted by Lulu, and he dashes forwards onto the Ryze who's split from his team. This triggers the flight or flight response for everybody on RNG, and they decide to fight. Bang can then QSS and retreat, while waiting for the follow-up initiates to go down, and then transition into their hit tanks or kill backline phase. In this case, since Echo and Ryze have used everything, he can dash in and kill off Bard in the backline. At this point, Whoosh on Sivir comes over the wall and forces Lucian back, while Echo almost manages to kill him, but just comes up short. SKT then runs down mid to end the game, while Maokai stops Sivir from recalling. Now the final option you have as an ADC in the direct initiation phase is to just do nothing and wait for a direct initiate and follow-up initiates to go off. This is going to happen in the majority of games, especially before you get your QSS. In this clip, as Lucian, I'm just walking around in circles until Maokai initiates, then I can immediately pull the trigger and start attacking him. As soon as Corki suicides with his big package, we switch targets onto him because he's a higher priority. At this point they try and disengage and we're getting zoned by Gangplank ultimate, so we just have to wait it out. So then we manage to get a Veigar stun on Elise, but since I'm low, I can't E forwards here to finish her, because a Q auto from Ezreal or a Q from Gangplank can just one-shot me. So I just wait, and we manage to get a hook on her, and then I can finish her off safely and go into cleanup phase by E'ing forwards for Ezreal, because he definitely can't turn and kill me immediately now. After the teamfight win, we should look to push mid, and I managed to get an E forwards onto the Ezreal. I shouldn't be afraid of dying here, because Ezreal cannot one-shot me. I do get pretty low from a Gangplank Q, but this lets him get caught in the Veigar cage, and then he gets hooked by Thresh. Now a rookie mistake here is to E in immediately, get parleyed and die. Instead, I wait for him to Q someone else, and then once he uses it, I can E in with no risk and just finish him off. High-level teamfighting is essentially just taking the principles from retaliation trading in episode 2 and taking it to a teamfight context. If someone is using an ability on somebody else, then they also can't use it on you, and you should use that to your advantage and just pounce on it. The next phase of a teamfight is the follow-up initiate. If the enemy initiates, then you're okay to just attack the initiator because their team's going to be too far away to follow up in a way that instantly kills you. However, if your team is the initiating team, you're going to have to wait until the enemy team uses their follow-up, otherwise you're going to be toast. In this clip, our Malphite goes in for a flash tower dive direct initiate. Now this initiate's pretty bad because everybody else is so far away. Now a rookie mistake here is to go in immediately before the follow-up initiates from the enemy have been burnt. If I were to walk forward and attack right now, Jarvan's going to EQ me, Lux is going to Q, Braum ulti, etc. Instead, I should just use my long-range abilities until the enemy cooldowns are forced out. Even channeling ulti here was pretty risky. Once Jarvan has used his EQ, there's no way he can kill me with just R, and all the follow-up initiates have been used. so I'm free to choose either to hit tanks or kill the backline. Kill the backline is still too dangerous here, so I should just only stay in range of Jarvan and finish him off with the E and chase him down. At this point, our Kha'Zix jumps in for some reason and instantly dies. But since they're all focusing Kha'Zix, they also can't all be focusing me, so I can E in here and try and finish off Jax. Unfortunately, he still has Counter-Strike up, so we can't kill him, and we just have to take an inhibitor and disengage. So the next phase of a team fight is to hit tanks. Most of the time, you shouldn't have auto-attacked at all by this point, and you want to position yourself in range of only one person at a time. In this clip, I'm playing Caitlyn and just waiting for the direct and follow-up initiates. We get a direct initiation off Blitzcrank Hook, and I can move immediately into hit tanks phase. I don't see any opportunities to go forwards into kill backline phase, so we just kite backwards and kill the front line. Up until this point is the fundamental way to play teamfights up to low diamond. This is now the hard part of the video. Applying and mastering everything up until this point will enable you to get to low diamond teamfighting skill, and isn't particularly hard. You just need to learn to attack move under pressure and just keep yourself one auto attack range away from anybody on the enemy team. So being able to identify kill backline opportunities and execute them without dying is the crux of being a challenger ADC. Being able to pull a trigger to dash or flash forwards to kill the backline is so important, because kiting back and just killing the closest person to you at most generates only 1 or 2 kills. By dashing or flashing in to finish off a backline target, you present yourself as a priority target for the enemy to turn and kill. If you've calculated whether you can survive their turnaround attempt, then you're going to kill their backline while surviving on a sliver of health, and then you'll be able to lifesteal through their tanks' attempts to kill you and get a 5 for 3 or a 4 for 2 instead of getting a 2 for 2. This allows you to turn marginal leads into game-winning ones. In this clip, pay special attention to Woosh on Sivir. Since he has Spell Shield, he applies the first direct initiate strategy I talked about, which is frontlining to bait Maokai's engage. After this, he's in the hit tanks phase, while looking for opportunities to flash kill the backline. Lupus sits on top of Bang, and instead of just methodically killing SKT's frontline with the rest of his team, Woosh sees an opportunity to flash forwards and kill Bang. If Marta had realized this earlier, he could have saved Woosh with the Cosmic Binding, but he was a split second too late. This kill backline play from Woosh was the difference between getting a 2-for-1 teamfight win and a 4-for-2 teamfight win. This allowed RNG to take the bottom inhibitor, whereas if both Sivir and Lucian had survived, then SKT could defend their inhibitor 3v4 quite easily, especially with the Baron minions. So in this next teamfight, let's watch Bang on Ezreal. Rox goes for a flank engage with Rek'Sai and Quinn. Bang is waiting for the direct initiate, and he's taking option 3, where he just walks around in circles and does nothing, and waits for the follow-up initiates to be used. He then goes into the hit tanks phase by just idly auto-attacking Rek'Sai. After Faker follow-up initiates with a Claw ulti on Prey, which gets immediately Q-assessed, Bang attempts to kill backline by E'ing forwards, but Prey flashes away. Since Prey is now too far away, Bang just goes back to hitting tanks and kills Rek'Sai. At this point, Bang can E forward and try and kill the backline again. He manages to kill both Quinn and Kalista, with everybody surviving on less than 100 health. As you can see, this 5-for-0 is the difference between winning the game and just being able to take a few objectives. Now let's look at a few first-person examples here, where your field of vision is a lot more limited. So in this first example, I'm playing Corki, and Vlad direct initiates by proto-belting in. I start by going into the hit tanks phase, and I'm staying in range of just one person at a time. After the Vlad comes out of pool, we manage to take him down, and Darius lands a grab on Ezreal. We then finish off Ezreal and get locked up by the Varus ultimate, and Varus and Graves get away. So let's look at that teamfight again. After Vlad dies and Darius grabs Ezreal, I actually don't need to kill Ezreal. I can go straight into kill backline phase here by Wing forwards to kill Varus, and I can let my team finish Ezreal. However, since I hesitated in pulling the trigger, all 3 of them managed to get away. Even though we get a 2-for-0, we can only take an inhibitor. If I had pulled the trigger there and gone for the backline, I would have been able to kill Varus, trading flash for flash, and most likely killed Graves as well and still survived. With 4 people dead for 40 seconds, there's no way Janna can stop us from ending the game. With this example, it's clear to see how a challenger ADC would have made a difference in this scenario by applying kill backline phase and pulling the trigger to win the game. In this final example, we're playing a 65-minute game, so everybody has full build. The enemy Fiora is ending the game, so we need to start 5th Dragon to force her teleport. Elise and Fiora direct initiate, and I move into hit tanks phase and get Fiora really low. After hitting her down, we force her to flash away, and so I go and finish her off. I then go back to my default of hitting tanks, Elise in this case, but then a kill backline opportunity opens up. The enemy Jinx flashes forwards to try and get a reset off the Vel'Koz, but he uses Zhonya's, so I switch to kill backline phase, I ignore the Elise and Trundle in front of me, and then just flash after Jinx to finish her off. This transition's actually really hard to do in chaotic teamfights like this, and I didn't even realize Jinx had stepped on a trap for at least 1 second. But once I saw the opportunity, I just grabbed it by the balls and squeezed it really hard. So this was a pretty long video. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed it. Remember to share, like, and subscribe, and until next time, peace.